we'll start you off with this event and what it means to you and to Doc and the partnership you have and the fact that you keep doing it each and every year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, anytime you can be out here and all the corporations and sponsors that come out and play and get a chance to support ABCD and all the work they do, especially for the youth of Boston. You know, obviously the least we can do is be here and be a part of it. And I think we both really enjoy it. Obviously, it's a heck of a commitment for Doc to come from across the country, and he's done it really consistently. He got me involved, and it's fun for me too to get a chance to spend a night with him that's not overly taxing or stressful.
This was one of the first things when you got here that you were involved with. And just what's been for you the benefit of being a part of this year in and year out?
I just think you want to support, like anything, you want to support everything, but certainly appreciate everybody's efforts in supporting, again, the youth of our community and the different programs that ABCD puts on to help them and to give them chances to experience new things, you know, and really try to achieve their dreams. And I think that's anytime you can be a part of that, it's special. There are only so many nights that you can do things throughout the course of a year. Obviously, the timing of this is great, and it's fun for me to get back in the Garden. I haven't been back here since we lost, so you know, again, it's a good thing to be a part of.
And speaking of getting back in the Garden, the season is pretty much right around the corner. How eager are you to kind of get this thing started again?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all eager to get started. I think that obviously it's a long year, but it happens quick. You know, for the standpoint of we start, first practice is Tuesday the 25th, and we're playing an exhibition game 3 days later, which is a little bit insane. But you know, we open our regular season 3 weeks later, so it'll be a great opportunity to start afresh with a brand new team. Although we have a lot of guys back, and see if we can be the best version of ourselves.
How much of a benefit is it to have a number of guys returning with such a quick turnaround from the beginning of camp to the first action against another team?
Yeah, I think there's a benefit from the standpoint of that continuity you can't replace with the standpoint of what you're trying to accomplish on both sides of the ball. We need to do some things a little bit differently, but on certain areas. But I think that for the most part, what we do is something that they will now be more familiar with. But we also have I think the advantage of, you know, anytime you add new guys, you get a little bit of, you know, extra life in the building, and to add Kyrie back into the mix, to add Gordon, and considering they were here last year, but it's almost like you're adding a brand new player to your team, let alone all the young guys that we've added, Brad Wanamaker, etc.
How slowly, if at all, do you have to ramp them up? Do you need to convince yourself to slowly ramp up?
Well, I mean, we'll prepare all the right way. We can't expect them to be you know, ready to play an April playoff game on September 25th. But the reality is it starts soon, and it doesn't let up if you're not ready. And so we need to be as ready as we can be physically and you know, in shape as we start camp, and then move on to, you know, the regular season when it hits, and be ready to go from there. Obviously, we'll utilize our depth, so we won't, you know, I don't anticipate guys playing 45 minutes a game. But at the same time, you know, you don't have the time to ramp up your conditioning like you used to with the regular season new start as of last year.
Kind of touched on it there in terms of depth, but there's a lot of talk of, you know, a lot of guys got a lot of opportunity at the end of last season, really shined in that opportunity. Some of these guys aren't going to maybe have those same opportunities this year, are going to be fighting for those opportunities, and there's a question of, well, will guys' egos be able to stay in check for that greater goal? Is that going to be, do you have any fear of that? Is that going to be,
you know, I think we've got a really good locker room. I don't think it's any secret to anybody that, you know, there's only 240 minutes in a game, and you know, if we all struggle with that, more than just, you know, the human nature of being disappointed if you get taken out, that's okay, that's part of it. But if we all struggle with that, then we won't be very good. And if we don't, we'll have a chance to be pretty good.
How much of the last couple of weeks have you spent on rotations, playing around in your mind with everything, or are you just getting away a little bit from basketball?
I'm more focused on on how we want to play than necessarily how we're going to rotate. I mean, if last year's not the best example, I don't know what would be. With things can change. Your rotation can change in a heartbeat, and so you could work all summer on it, and then you've got to adjust in one day. And I think the bottom line is we have an idea of who will play together and who best fits together and what lineups we think we'll try to use, but we'll see how it all shakes itself out.
What are your expectations for Robert?
For Robert, the number one thing is to become as comfortable on both sides of the ball in our system and being an NBA player as he can. He's been really, really active here in the offseason since the rookie transition program, basically been in Boston. Been working really hard, and I'm really encouraged by what I've seen so far.
What's the latest on Daniel Tyson? Are you ready to go?
I've been told that everybody's going to be ready to go, and Daniel was in the gym this morning. He looks great. He has not been cleared for 5-on-5 play yet, but the anticipation is that he will by the start of training camp on September 25th.
I think we've talked to you since he was re-signed, but the importance of Marcus getting back, that kind of dragged on, and there was some feeling, maybe there was some hurt feelings at the point. Marcus seemed pretty excited about it once it finally actually got resolved. How important is he to you? I mean, you've always been his biggest champion.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus knows how we all feel. Obviously, restricted free agency is restricted free agency. There are pluses and minuses to that, but obviously we're thrilled to have him back, and we're thrilled to have him back for a long time. And I think that's something that we were able to we really went into free agency hoping that would be the case. And we all know what Marcus brings to the table, and I keep going back to and one of the moments where you have chills when you reflect back on a season was when he entered the game against Milwaukee, and the first thing he did was dive on the floor. And everybody says they want it, right, and want to do that type of stuff, but he's a guy that does it every day. And so we appreciate the way he competes. We love having him around. We're glad he's here for the long term.
What did you learn about Terry, the way he handled everything last year, in terms of the position he was put in during the playoffs, and now he probably has to adjust back?
Well, one thing about Terry is you don't have to worry about him competing. You don't have to worry about him working. He always has worked. He's always competed. He's got a great mindset. He's got a great team attitude. Every time I've seen him all summer, he's been all smiles. I saw him this morning. He looked great. So, I think everybody everywhere knows Terry can really play. And so, it's not about as much, we talk about the roles and everything else about proving ourselves. It's about how can we all help each other win, because, you got a chance with a team that has a lot of good depth, and that depth has to be a positive. And so that's the way we're going to approach it.
How's Gordon doing with his back in Boston? How's this summer?
He looks good. Yeah, he looks good. I saw him a couple weeks ago in San Diego. I went out there and watched him work out, and then he looked really good. And then 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks later now, seeing him again, you can't tell anything from my untrained eyes. Like, he looks good. He'll be cleared to go some 5-on-5 here very, very, very soon. Like anytime soon.
Yeah. We haven't talked to you since Kawhi went to the Raptors. What's your reaction? How does that maybe change him?
But he's a great player. And DeMar's a great player. Kawhi's ability to impact the game on offense, on defense. I think the addition of Danny Green as well, that's a really versatile, good team. And, they were the best team in the East last year. At the end of the season, Cleveland did what Cleveland's done the last few years, and that's figure out a way to get to the finals. And we had our moments in the playoffs, and we had some moments in the playoffs that we seem to forget. But Toronto was the best team in the East, and they added one of the best players in the NBA. So obviously, I'm sure they're excited about their season.
Coach, I know that you don't pay that much attention, but you do hear around that Boston's a favorite to get to the finals. How do you
I think, yeah, you know, one of the things about all 30 teams at the start of the season is everybody's, you know, looking at their upside and looking at the best possible scenarios, right? And I think everybody feels great about where they are and who they are, because nobody's played a game yet, nobody's lost a game yet. So we just need to be the best version of ourselves. We can't skip steps. We can't talk about being a favorite. We can't talk about being in the mix. We can't talk about being a playoff team. We have to go back and earn all that with our work all the way through. The one thing that I will say is you'd rather be in the position of having expectations and having everybody back, because that means the guys in the locker room are the ones that earned them. And I think having earned expectations is a positive thing. Thank you.